Hey, everybody, we should be live. How's everybody doing today? Welcome. You know what time it is. It's about to be that time. One Piece, 11:39. All right. Oh. AJ, what's up, man? See you in the chat. Good seeing you. See DK, BK, 3-day. Let's catch up on the chat a little bit here. AJ said he snowed in. Heard the East Coast got hit. I don't know exactly where you are, AJ, but Vazu said Randy's my new go-to since Sawyer 7H stopped. I didn't know that. Is that true? Stopped doing content completely? Hope he's okay. Yeah. So let's see. Oh yeah. I want to read this out beforehand because there was a lavish dono that had come in after we were done streaming last week from Veronica. Hey Veronica, who said had to watch reaction live. Next day watched your thoughts. Think Emu is the man who killed the sun and became a god? Question mark. Potentially. I mean, with the sun being like an allegory, you know, not necessarily like the literal sun, because as we talked about last week, I'm thinking that the mother flame is like potentially maybe the Earth's core, like just with the conveyor belts in the mural. So in theory, I would put sun in quotation marks. So I would say, like, you know, if we're saying the sun is the mother flame, then yes. Then why is the rain only around the whale? That I have no answer for. That I just have to wait for. And then Frankie is either covering Devil Fruit Creation or the Forest God Scientist. Maybe. I mean, a lot of people thought that Frankie could be covering something. Maybe that's part of what this chapter is. I don't know. And then is the sword in the third world that Sun God Luffy has, well, that Nika has, the same sword we saw stuck through the middle of Elbaf? I mean, that'd be crazy. I would expect and hope to see that sword in some sort of Void Century flashback that ties into everything with the Harley. And then last, if so, does that mean the shield is also somewhere, which is a great question. And whale being related to the minx makes sense considering where they hide the poneglyph. Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of whale imagery throughout the series. Obviously, you have Laboon. I think there's a statue in Orangetown. I've seen compilations of like whale stuff all over the internet, and I know that I think Galaxy was sharing a bunch of stuff on the Discord one time where it's not just those 3 instances. There's a lot. So yeah, I mean, seeing the shield would be cool. All right. So thanks, Veronica, and then we're gonna get into the chapter here. I do have to say that you know, there is one thing in this chapter that I have been spoiled about because I got a comment on one of my videos and I accidentally saw it a few days ago. So you know, I don't peddle in fake reactions here. So there's definitely one big thing in this chapter that I was spoiled about, but it's not, to me, it's not a big deal because it's something that we already were talking about. So I'm just hoping it's not like the last page. And then I'm looking at the chapter here. We've got more Who's Who business. Um, let's see, AJ said, been busy but super good. It's been a crazy, crazy year. Yeah, I hear that. Catch up on the chat real quick before I get into everything. This is said, are you ready to shout A minor? With my whole chest. I'm ready. Can you win an Emmy for a halftime performance? I mean, they should have given one to Michael. That one was that's still top for me. But let's see. All right, so jumping into the chapter here. I love how, like, you know, I get on Manga Plus and, like, immediately, like, the little icon is a spoiler. But anyway, let's see here. So we've got Ogre Child Yamato's Garden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 25. We captured a rebellious duo. Is this page 1 and ulti? Are we throwing them into the mix here? I mean, that's my guess. Looks like ulti on the right, page 1 on the left. Next page. Okay, we're back at the castle. We've been looking for this key for a while now. Are we even going to find it in this huge place before sundown? Why are they worried about sundown? The guards certainly won't know where it is. If anyone would know the location of the key. ... Don't forget to like the stream, guys.
Come with me if you want to live.
It would either be Chief Jarl, a few of the elders. The old sword gramps. They're really making Ja Rule, you know, like an important thing. I feel like he is definitely a misdirection. He's got more to do with this. We were talking about dementia, or not dementia, amnesia, because he has the sword in his head. But you know, it's just like, why would you have Harold's sword in your head? Like, there's only two ways that it goes down. Loki takes Harold's sword and stabs Ja Rule, or Ja Rule was playing Harold and Harold stabs him. So, let's see. Anyway, wonder if he'd tell us. He would never give it to you. Freeing Loki would be a terrible crime. We didn't decide we were going to free him yet either. So strict, Zolo. Hey, look over here. What's up? What did Nami find? Gulp? Red carpet. Traces of opulence? Could that be the throne room? Pardon us. Whoa, geez, it's all busted up. Oh, hey. We've got the summoning circle on the ground. I love that. There was a question of whether or not these things stay on the ground or if they disappear. They stay on the ground. Will one of the Straw Hats remember this from Egghead? Tune in to find out. Okay. The scars of battle here are vicious. Even the ceiling's missing. It is the throne room. What is that strange mark? Mark? What mark? Oh, you're right. It looks like a magic circle out of a book or something. Magic what? It's the thing they use in ritual demon summoning in some country or other. What? They call demons? Beats me. What is such a thing doing in the throne room? It's eerie. Okay. I feel like I've seen something like this lately, though. Okay, come on, Luffy. Just think back. Only a couple days ago, buddy. Straw Hat Luffy. Who's that, a demon? It's obviously not a demon. Who is it? Is it a lost soul from beyond the grave to come haunt us? I've been hoping to meet you. Rest, spirit of the dead. Rest, spirit of the dead. Whoa, who is that? Show yourself. Are you a demon summoned to this place? I just knew this castle was haunted. We must flee before the ghost haunts us too. Wait, don't run, Rado. Wait. And then there's an axe. Ah! Don't drop us. Next page. Whew, thanks. Someone's on the chair. Give me ultra rare Nami. I'm gonna smack you. And voila! It's Surya. Why are you here? Felt some very abnormal hockey coming from the castle earlier. Human, former pirate, living in Elbaf, Mr. Ya. It seems to have left, but now I find you here instead. There he is. And this is crazy, right? Because if you look at what's on the left side of his head, this is the guy from the Marineford. Oda really took the design from that one guy that nobody could figure out, but he was bald then, right? I mean, it really looks like that guy that had the little pipe and was commenting on the everything going down in Marineford. So I think Oda is retconning that to say that that was Gaban the whole time. I'm sure people have brought that up. Let's see. Well, I'm glad that they didn't do this on the last page. So hopefully we get some Gaban lore here. He outs himself as Gaban. Kind of silly that, he's going under a different name, but I guess he's got probably a ridiculous bounty and he's trying to hide himself. But I mean, it's very clearly Scopper Gaban. He's got the long hair in the back. He's throwing axes. This is the man that met with Crocus all those years ago. Scopper Gaban the whole time. And yes, this was the thing I was spoiled on. Because I had recently done a video where I talked about underdeveloped, missing, or forgotten characters in One Piece, and Scopper Gaban was one of them, and I did say that it was likely that we would see him be this person, even though I preferred it to be Louis Arnaut. I was like, it's, chances are higher that it would be Gaban, and it was. So someone commented and was like, you're right, Scopper Gaban was in the chapter. It's like, thanks, you spoiled me. But, appreciate the engagement either way. Okay. So now, I've heard the stories about you, Straw Hat Luffy, including that you took care of Kaido. Boy, I'd love to go traveling around Wano again. Maybe he's not that guy. I don't know. Now that I'm looking closer at the face, it looks like maybe it's just a generic scar instead of that snake tattoo thing, but I don't know. Guess we'll have to wait and see. And maybe I need more pages here. Huh? Sir Ya. He goes by Mr. Ya in Elbaf. You went by the school, correct? Did you not meet a teacher named Ripley there? He is her husband. Okay, confirmation that that's the case. So this is Cologne's dad. Making the, Shanks and Cologne conversations a little more interesting. Ah, so you're the dad of that giant shrimp! Luffy being Luffy. That's how it goes. Sick. Giant shrimp. Yeah, I guess I am. So you met Cologne and Ripley, huh? He took on a lot of giant's blood. He grew up without me being able to hold him in my arms. That sucks. Would you believe he's 20? All right. I had to pause for a second, but I guess because he's half human, I guess it makes a little more sense, maybe. Because of his human blood, he may age slightly differently than other giants. Like, maybe his life expectancy is a little different, too. Like, whereas a normal giant would probably live until, 300, maybe Kelowna can only live until, 200. The only basis we had for ages, we have a couple of bases, but the main one I always go back to is that in the flashback at Little Garden, before Dory and Brokey go to Little Garden, they are 30 years old in that, and they look like fully grown men, so they are only 10 years older than Cologne would be here at 20. And he really looks like he's 12 at 20. So that's got to be the human blood mixing in with the giant's blood. Trying to inject logic into this crazy fantasy world. Here we go. And Ripley's 80. She's older than me. That's fun. Yeah. Gaban's probably 79. Like, he's saying he's old, she's older than him, but he's got to be close. Let me tell you, marrying a giant's not worth it. I get older, they stay the same age. Giggity. I don't know. I like this. Clearly a Family Guy reference. Anyway, that's a good point. I'm just surprised to hear that someone's actually done it. Okay. Love is free. What's up with these shorts? Like, the fit is okay, but then the shorts, I don't know. Anyway, there are many mixed blood races throughout history. The Buccaneers, okay. Confirmation, Buccaneers are mixed race. What are they mixed with? Matt said in Family Guy was a reference to Dazed and Confused. That's true. The Dosundata, long arms, long legs, and the Wotans. The Dosundata. Wasn't one of Hodie's guys named Dosun? I feel like this is the first time we're ever seeing the word Dosundata. Wotans. Why does that sound familiar? A giant fishman. That's right, the Wotan. Big Pan, right? That's right, yeah. Davy Backfight, Wotans. That's where that's from. These blended peoples don't tend to last long, but in every era there have always been those who are more open-minded. ... This man's a whole freak. The way he's talking, like, this is wild. Anyway, you seem to know a whole lot. Who are you, anyway? I'm the preacher of love. All right, this is Roger Sanji right here. You're getting more Gaban than we ever got in any flashback in 2 pages here. Haha, that sounds like what Sanji will be when he's older. Look at that. Yep. Anyway, I'm searching for the key to Loki's cuffs. Just don't tell him about it. He wouldn't know anyway. Oh, forget I said that. Too late. Loki, eh? Fascinating. If there's one thing I love, it's other people causing trouble. It's really tacky. You better not tell anybody about this. Young lady, secrets are born to be spread. No, stop that right now. You know what kind of man Loki is? If the worst should happen because of this, what's your plan? I'll beat him up. Put the chains back on him. Years ago, a man named Red-Haired Shanks captured Loki. Prior to that, no one was ever able to stop him. This is getting interesting. If you don't know what kind of powers Loki has, or what damage he might do... Hey, wait. Let's look for the key. I think he's going to be yapping for a while. Wait. You're wasting our time. He's giving us a warning. We should listen to him. Sorry, so yeah, they're just... Huh. Okay, confirmation that he's Gaban. If anybody was like, maybe he's really Mr. Ya. Sick of all your warnings. Are you afraid? I didn't say that. Want to stop me? You'll have to do it by force. I'm telling you to be aware of the risks, idiot Roger. Hey, Roto, go up to the throne and push it. Huh? The old Pirate King's crew, there were 2 others who were especially strong aside from Roger himself. Oh yeah, I'm guessing it's Rayleigh and someone else. That's right. One time, Roger, the captain, needed to rest and heal, so he and this other fellow went to a hospital in the mountains. Fortunately, it got surrounded by a bunch of enemy pirates, but this fellow went out on his own and took down hundreds of enemies with just his 2 axes. By himself with 2 axes? Yeah, we're getting that Gaban gas. But there's more. In the place where he fought, there was only the bald mountainside left behind, with not a single tree standing. It seems a little excessive. Because of that, he gained the epithet of Mountain Eater. Scopper Mountain Eater Gaban. Anyway, it's a well-known story, so Jinbei knows this. After the first mate Silver's Rayleigh, this man was known as the Pirate King's left arm. A hidden room, a treasure chamber. Ah, I love you, Mr. Ya. Treasure. How'd you know about this, Sir Ya? Exploring's my thing. A treasure chest room? They're all empty. Ha ha ha. But it was a treasure room. You lied to me. But look. Oh, a key. Here's something no burglar would care to take. So it's a double pager. Don't blame me. It's an abandoned castle. Perfect target for burglars. In other words, releasing Loki is something even the wicked dare not to do. So, will you still take this key? What? Yes, he's here. He's been living in Elbaf for over 20 years. A legendary figure who stood shoulder to shoulder with Roger and Rayleigh. Left arm of the Pirate King, Gaban. Take it from me if you can. He continued. A 12-page chapter, Oda? I guess technically 13. We're back to that? That's what we're doing? Then going on break? 12 pages? I'm not including the title page, no. Gaban versus Luffy. That's fun. 4 in a row? Alright, fine. Fine. We got it though. It's Gaban. The community can finally stop bringing his name up every time a silhouette happens. I mean, this is like every silhouette for at least the last 10 years has had 70% of people saying it's gotta be Gaban. And even ones that clearly were not Gaban, the jokes were there. We got a little bit of Scopper lore. Some proper Scopper lore that gives us a situation where we now can, I guess, power scale him. We know where he is. I hope that he can, like, train our guys a little bit. You know, it's like if Rayleigh trained Luffy, I would love it if Scopper was like a parallel to that and he trained some of the other members, like how to use hockey. Like, let's take a little bit of time here. I also enjoy that he's not just giving them the key, because that was like a weird thing throughout the chapter where it was kind of like, what is he doing? Why is he like this agent of chaos? And it seems like he's way more relaxed now than he was years ago, because he's clearly like, I think someone was bringing it up in the chat. They said like he was the Nami of the crew, like someone who was kind of rational, trying to tell Roger like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do that. But here he's just like, oh, you want to free Loki? Well, that's kind of dangerous. Are you sure you know what you're doing? But he's not saying, no, you shouldn't do that. He's like, he just wants to flex a little bit. But I think it's also from the element of like Luffy is the guy that they've been waiting for, right? Or so they think. He's only heard things about Luffy, so now it's time for him to say, like, all right, let's see what everybody else is talking about with him. Time for me to see. Shout out to AD Wolf. Appreciate the big super. W's in the chat for AD Wolf. Said, do we get the first world flashback here on Elbaf or with the Void Century, second world, in Laugh Tale as one big epic flashback? I think we'll get a Loki flashback, and maybe if we're lucky, Gaban will tell what happened in God Valley. I don't think that the events of God Valley are going to be pertinent yet. There's unless we get an immediate threat of like Blackbeard, I think, who's clearly tied to Zebek in some way, or following in his footsteps. I don't know if it's necessary, even though Gaban was there, I get it. But right now, the way the story is going, it's more about like what happened 800 years ago, rather than what happened 38 years ago. So, could Gaban tell us? Yes, he has the ability to because he was there. Will he? Does it matter? No. Well, I imagine if Shanks appears, which he should, in theory, at some point. This should be the arc where Luffy and Shanks reunite. At that point, then I could see a God Valley flashback from the perspective of this is how we met Shanks, right? We raised him. But even in that case, I think it would be a situation where Oda would tell us only what we needed to know. So he would do basically what he did for the film Red tie-in, where he showed Shanks on the ship. Like, he'd probably just expand upon like the aftermath of God Valley. I think there's going to be too much tied into what the One Piece is and what the real end game of the story is with what happened in the actual God Valley. So, what I would love, since there's so many parallels to like Skypiea, is that at some point we just break into a, in Skypiea we just left and jumped 400 years earlier at some point, right? So if we find some sort of way to jump 800 years, but we need a focal character, right? And that's coming from the assumption, in my theory, that the reason we made that jump in the first place is because Luffy's descended from Calgara as well. So while we didn't have a clear POV that was like alive 400 years ago, there's some connection point there. And you could argue, even if Luffy isn't related there, that the point of view is kind of coming from Wiper. So there's ways to kind of muddy it, even though it's more omniscient. It's not a direct POV. So here, we need some sort of character that is tied directly to characters 800 years ago so that we can jump into that flashback. So if Vivi appears, then we could jump to Lily 800 years ago and get some information there. Or Robin's reading from the book, and then we find out one of her ancestors was important 800 years ago. Like something like that. I would love to get one of those flashbacks. At least one of them. But it also feels like those flashbacks would be such a jump-off point that I would have to say that they probably won't come until the end of the arc. Or the climax of the arc. Because it's going to be such a buoy. It's going to get us like going to the next place. I don't have enough lore or table setting in this arc to justify a flashback like right now to get us going into something else. But maybe Oda's got a different idea on this. AJ said we got Gin, we got Gaban. Now we need the original Kaido to make a comeback. That's great. Um, 3 Days said, if it wasn't for the key being so big, I would have gotten take this pebble from my hand vibes. He's just going to test Luffy for a bit to train him. I wonder what Gaban can teach Luffy that Rayleigh hasn't already. That's why I'm like, you know, it's like if he's getting trained by the right hand, like if you're, unless someone's going to come out and say like Rayleigh and Gaban are equal, right? Then I don't want a situation where Luffy's getting like really pertinent information to like level up from someone that, not even power scaling, but just like rank. Like Rayleigh is just is just above Scopper based on him like just being in the story for as long as he's been in the story. Gaban just appeared, so I would rather he benefits the other Straw Hats. Wolf said, that's the idea, to use Shanks to tell what happened. From that perspective, then yeah, we can get a God Valley flashback. Huh. Andy said, Scopper will train Luffy in hiding and throw his hockey farther. I think Scopper will nullify Luffy's Gear 5 with a massive burst of hockey. If Gaban can do that, then we need Rayleigh in this arc to do a bigger feat, I feel. Like, you can't just... I don't know. Alejandro Salas, appreciate the super, said Dory and Brogy were 60 100 years ago, so they would have been 20 human years. No, they're like 136 right now, or 138. So they were in their 30s when they left. Also, if Ripley was pregnant for 27 months, Rouge did a giant level will. I don't remember that being mentioned, or me just throwing that out there. Did Roger steal Buggy's fruit from God Valley? Unlikely, because God Valley happened, I'm gonna say, at least 10 years before Buggy even eats his fruit. Tristan said, I wonder what was the Rayleigh and Scopper dynamic. I'm sure it's going to be exactly Zoro and Sanji. So it's like you're gonna keep getting the shot of like them butting heads constantly, arguing. Mr. Nine said, isn't it weird that the God's Knights only mobilized after Garling vacated command? Not necessarily, because it's a lot of crazy things are happening in the world. They're getting ready for a cleansing. These are forces that don't necessarily need to be mobilized, and when they are mobilized, it's about things that didn't concern our heroes until now. So, is it a thing where Oda maybe just made these characters up recently? Probably. But you can justify it because they're at the top of this world. You've got we've had secret organizations this entire time, and every time we get a secret organization, but wait, there's another secret one. Secret 9. This is the most secret organization. But wait, there's CP0. But wait, there's the Holy Knights. You know, it's just it keeps getting the keep escalating. DK said, Randy, if the Lego One Piece live action rumors are true, can we expect a Lego Bratty build stream? That would be like a 10-hour stream, and it would probably be a pretty boring stream. Out of the rumored sets, which I feel like I don't have inside baseball on this. Like, I don't know what's going on with these Legos, but I feel like the Legos are happening, and if the rumors are true about what the sets are, I'm very interested in the Arlong Park one more than the Baratier one. But I gotta see them. I don't know. I don't even know what they look like. And if they look too much like Legos, I don't know how interested I would be. Wiki says 160? Where was I getting these other ages? 158 in there, dude. Alright, whatever. Guess I was wrong. SSG Constantine, super appreciate it, said Gaban might still be in the Burn Scar sweepstakes. I could see the scenario of him keeping a blacked out Oro Jackson to discreetly sail, example the Crocus visit, so that he won't linger too long on Elbaf. I don't know, like, the more and more I think about Burn Scar, Man Marked by Flames, and all that stuff, like, I really want it to be Yorkie. There's a lot of, like, really, like, great narrative, you know, circles that you can make, and it just, like, ties everything in a bow. But I can't take away or undervalue, I think it was Lafitte's line in that flashback in the bar where he says that people theorize that the person that is the Man Marked by Flames is connected to the government, so that the government can prevent people from getting to Laugh-Tale. And when someone sort of theorizes like that, sometimes you kind of have to sit there and go, that must be true, right? And then it's like, who would be connected to the government that would do that? I don't really have an answer for that, but we can't rule that out. Now, as far as like Scopper being that person, at this point, I don't know what we gain. I mean, I do like this energy of like, if you can beat me, I'll tell you information, you know, and like that feels like the same vibe that I would expect from a man marked by flames type. But he just seems like a chaotic old man at this point. Brandon King Super said, so glad Wotans were mentioned again and not forgotten. Also, I wonder what power was so bad burglars didn't take. Maybe it makes copies of Pearl. Is there something in this page that implies that other things weren't stolen? I'm a little confused by that, BK. I'm trying to make sense of it. I do love that Wotans came back. Like, I had to think about that for a second, and then it's just taking us back to Davey Backfight for the first time in ever. Wonder what power was so bad burglars didn't take it. And then like Pearl from Don Krieg's crew. To me, it looks like there's only the key in this room. So, but I don't know. And then Prophet Super said the Dosundatas are angels, a giant plus a Birkin, aka a Rouge. Maybe I'm thinking that the Dosundata have to be something like Fishman related, and I don't know if we have an example of it in the story, but I mean, like, we have a Fishman named Dosun. It was like a hammerhead shark. So it has to, like, we can't rule out that the name has to be a clue. So BK said, no, I just meant that they said Loki's power is so bad and fearsome burglars didn't steal it. Or at least TCB implied that. Oh yeah, there's no implication of that in this official. So I said it makes copies of Pearl because he's the most ugly, hateable character in One Piece. I gotcha. Yeah, in the official, he's talking about the key, and he said, here's something no burglar would care to take. So, Leonardo Martin said, Dosun, sound of a hammer. Okay, so I don't know, maybe the Dosundata is like a mix between something and a Tontata. You know, and then you're going from the idea that the Tontata are little elves that build things. I don't know. I'm trying to like get into the headspace of like what the name would mean, but I don't know. And Data is fast steps. So hammer and fast steps. So yeah, like I'm seeing some agreements in the chat, so it might be like some sort of Tontata mix. Big Stinky said Cerberus is the first awakened zone weapon. Sure is. Locust Super, appreciate it, said, I don't think Scopper is flames, man. Yeah, I'm not leaning that way right now either, but Locust said, but I like the idea of someone keeping the Aurora Jackson as a reminder of their journey. Future Sunny inspirations. See, like that I like. And it also gives Frankie something to do. So it's like if Scopper reveals that the Aurora Jackson is here, you know, it would be really interesting if like something happened to the Sunny and before they could repair it, like they had to like then jump onto the Oro Jackson to do something, and there would be like a bittersweet thing where it's like, no, we need to keep sailing on the Sunny, but knowing the like having the reverence for Roger, but then also knowing that it was built by Tom, you know, like that could be interesting. Or if it's like just a short trek to get to the other side of Elbaf or something, like I would just love it if the crew got to ride on the Oro Jackson for just a little bit. Because then, you know, you get these like cool moments where it's like, this is where the Pirate King stood. You start getting some Logetown vibes. This ship, you know, sailed the entire world. It made it to Laughtale. You know, there's got to be like an energy on the ship. Like, you have to feel the Waterman through the ship. Like, there's some fun, you know, there's like a fun 4 pages there that can really just give some good character beats for the Straw Hats. But, no. DK said, reminder to like the stream if you haven't already. Yes. Growth Stocks, super appreciate it, said, Scopper has been raising Roger's egg for 20 years while waiting for Joy Boy, and is another reason why he's testing Luffy. Maybe he used it to get to Crocus. Roger's egg is absolutely one of the biggest mysteries in the series. You probably put it in the, you know, top 5, top 10. If it comes out here, that's kind of interesting. You find out that Cologne is the egg that was on Roger's ship. Oh, man. And then someone just says, yeah, giants lay eggs, don't you know? Like, that's how they give birth. Jacob said the Holy Knights knew to enter Elbaf via the castle, it seems, probably to be as stealthy as possible. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some inside information there that they would know that no one really would be in there. But of course, the Straw Hats are there, and they're going to go inside of a castle. You know, Scooby-Doo rules apply. We have no idea what happened to the Oro Jackson Locust. So a lot of people have been waiting for it to pop up. A lot of people have theorized that, you know, in the past, that Scopper was man marked by flames and that he's riding the Oro Jackson around. Could the Oro Jackson still be out there at sea somewhere? Maybe. I like the idea of it just being like tied up in a really hidden, secluded area of Elbaf. Like, that's cool to me. What was Gaban's role on the ship? Because if he was helmsman, then he's definitely got the ship. And I'd even buy if he was navigator. Like, I feel like he was navigator or something. I feel like we know his role. So, if someone remembers, let me know. Pager. Aether said, I'm fully on board. The portal was already in the castle. That's interesting, too. Not against that. Ugh. During the Binksaki montage and the Odin flashback, he was at the helm. Yeah. So I thought that. Like that was the thing that was driving me. I was like, I feel like I remembered him driving the ship. So in which case, him having Aura Jackson is pretty likely. And I'm on board. Jody Liz said, in the last panel of the throne room, page 10, I think there is a triple claw scar left of the throne on the wall. Thanks for coming in, Vishnu. Let me see. Oh, yeah. So if you look at the panel where he says, hey, Roto, go up to the throne, if you look up in the top left, there is a gigantic claw mark in the wall that looks like Shanks' scar. Really. Looks like that. Either an animal was involved in that fight, or somebody had a Zoan. So. Or used a Wolverine-like weapon like Blackbeard had to create Shanks' scar. I guess there's a couple of options. But I like the idea that, you know, there's a gigantic Zoan involved here and maybe a wolf. So that's like maybe a Fenrir thing there. Growthstock said the egg first debuted Chapter 0 Strong World and was hinted with Billy the Electric Duck. Oda has reused his Strong World designs with the animals of Elbaf. Is that so? The first time we saw the egg was in Chapter 0. Huh. I guess that makes sense. And I do know that we have been reusing Strong World designs for the animals. But that's basically... Oda recycles things from the movies all the time because inevitably, ever since he's gotten involved in those movies, he's been throwing ideas that he had for arcs and giving them to the movies, but then still trying to find ways to incorporate them in some way into the main story. I think that that's kind of what bogged down Wano a little bit. But AJ said Gaban's the pimp of the Roger Pirates if you listen to chat. Leonard Martin said, I think it was made by Harold and his Devil Fruit. Well, in theory, Harold would probably, you know, the fruit that Loki has been passed through generations. So, in theory, Harold should have had whatever fruit Loki has now. So, I mean, there's a couple of headcanon ways to go about this. That Loki fought Harold without a Devil Fruit, killed his dad, and then ate whatever fruit he had. The other way would be Harold had the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika and was killed during this fight, and then Loki ate a fruit thinking he was eating that fruit, but it was some sort of fake out, and then the real Nika somehow escaped and eventually made its way to Luffy. What's up, Jalebi? Hey, Maxo. Hi, Randy. How'd you like the chapter? I wish it was longer. You know, which I was getting flamed in the chat for saying because we just got 4 chapters in a row. But I just want more. You know, like 12 pages. I was like, I let's get into this Gaban fight. Like, let's go. Maxo said, yeah, I'll take what I can get, but yeah, I can't say I disagree. BK said, since Dosen is a Japanese sound effect for hammer sound, what if Dosen Dadas are Fishman Tantata hybrids that are blacksmiths? I mean, it's, yeah, probably. I mean, as long as a hammer is involved, then I'm like on board. Three Days said, I think the Magic Circle really has been there a while, because it's strange that area was completely untouched by the battle. Like the circle was protected by some energy field. Let me go and look at that. I mean, it's an interesting thing to say, but I'm actually more inclined to say that it is fresh because it doesn't have any rubble on top of it. Like, by the circle appearing, it would have, like, blown away any rubble, and I think looking into the logic of the circle is probably the wrong thing to look at. And I think it's got to be fresh. I think it would be interesting if it was there before and that it had something to do with Harold's death. But I think that this is a situation of, why does Luffy have an axe and then a sword and then this? Oh, it must be some sort of like weird dream or whatever. This is just a convenient way for Oda to draw the circle, I think. You know, and there's enough rubble around the other areas to like justify him having one clean spot for the circle. But it is interesting that it is like right in front of the throne room. Right in front of the throne in particular. It seems very deliberate. Let's see. We've been looking for this key for a while. So... I think it's very interesting also that Gaban knows exactly where the key is, right? And this goes even further to my belief that Shanks, Rayleigh, Gaban are all working together. They were all pushing towards Roger's goal, which is to build up some unknown individual 20 years into the future that we now know as Luffy and get him to do the thing that we need him to do. So it's just, you know, we already have the archipelago flashback with Shanks and Rayleigh, which is like very, there's like so many like little lines in there that are like, okay, these guys are working together on something. And it's been a key component of a lot of my like Shanks and Rayleigh theories in the first place. But this is even more evidence now with Gaban knowing the secret hiding place of the key. Because it's like Shanks now shows that he trusts Gaban enough to tell him where this is, to basically protect the key. Because what he's saying here is like, Loki's too dangerous. He's gonna mess things up. And but the other thing too is like, the only reason that Gaban would even do this in the first place is if Loki is supposed to play some sort of role in this prophecy as well. So I don't know. Some of it's really convoluted, and I don't know where Gaban's head really is with this play, because it seems kind of stupid. And it's like, if you're gonna do it, like, he's got to put Luffy in the ground somehow, right? Like, the way that I would actually prefer this situation to go is Gaban taunts Luffy with the key. Gaban beats Luffy handedly, right? And then they have to give up this idea that they're going to get the Loki key. And they don't get it here. But someone's lurking in the shadows and now knows where the key is, because Gaban was stupid enough to like make a public display of where the key is. They press the button. They go down there. They get the key. They free Loki. Because it's like, from a narrative structure in the first place, you don't want your hero being responsible for whatever destruction that Loki's going to do, right? It's the same reason why you have Robin like blow up Igaram in Whiskey Peak, but then he's still alive, and it's like, well, she can join the crew because she's not really that bad, even though she's definitely killed a lot of other people. So it's kind of the same thinking. Like, I can't see Luffy freeing Loki. Now, there is a version where like he loses to Gaban, and then late at night he goes in, gets the key, and frees Loki, because that's what the story is dictating. But I don't know if we see a clean scenario where Luffy beats Gaban, takes the key, and frees Loki. That's too simple. It's like, it's also the whole thing where it's like, if you're gonna set up this entire situation, you have to start looking at what's the wrong outcome. What is the story telling us that, like, what's the story telling us that they're gonna do? Because usually we're gonna do the opposite. So and if we're not doing the opposite, we're gonna do something like just completely different. Like, the way the story is going is generally a misdirect, because the whole point is to generate shock and surprise. And I'm just going through everything here again. I wonder if Sanji's gonna end up getting a scar on his face like Gaban has. Just because Zoro and Rayleigh have a very similar scar. I wonder if end of series Sanji's gonna get one too. Sick of all your warnings. Are you afraid? I didn't say that. If you want to stop me, you'll have to do it by force. I'm telling you to be aware of the risks. It's like the flashbacks are telling us who Gaban is, and then the present day is giving us a different version of Gaban. But I think the flashbacks are trying to tell us that, like, ultimately, this is who Gaban is. So he does not want Luffy to have the key. But he probably also knows that he's like Roger, so he has to show him where the key is, or he's going to keep, like, running around the kingdom trying to find the key. And there's other things that Luffy needs to be doing. But the key is also a Chekhov's gun. It's like, and Loki being in cuffs is a Chekhov's gun. It's just like, you know that at some point he's going to get out of those cuffs. What's the Japanese phrasing for Mountain Eater? Like, Yama what? Yama something no Gaban, right? What is it? After the first name. How do you know about this? Exploring's my thing. I think that's a lie. I think Shanks told him exactly where he put the key. Or Shanks gave Gaban the key and said hide it somewhere that you know it'll be safe. Next chapter is going to be fun. We're going to get to see Gaban flex. And by the end of it, it may end up being more than we'll ever have seen Rayleigh do. Yamagarai. Yamagarai. No. Maxo said, reminded me, I gotta make another lo-fi remix. Which track? DK said, Ripley heard Scopper was called the Mountain Eater and immediately had to go check for herself. Yeah. That's why I kind of stopped during the read. I wasn't going to say it, but I was just like, okay. Will Zoro step up to fight Gaban? I don't want that. He's calling out Luffy. So... And I don't know if Zoro is completely on board with this Loki thing in the first place. Like, he's just going with it because it's Luffy. This is Gaban testing Luffy. But I want Gaban to fight the rest of the crew. I wish there were more people with them. Like, it's cool that it's the Trinity here. But I guess it would have been nice if it was Sanji. Let's see. Andy Delph said the magic circle is giant sized, but I think that the other ones were too, and you have to factor in how huge the Gorosei ended up being. 3 Day said, in reality, we've yet to see Loki use a devil fruit power, nor do we know the name of it, so that's still my theory too, Randy. Harold switched it and or gave it to the war government. I mean, that's what I want to see. I think it gets us more stuff. What's behind the throne in Marijoa? That's a... You know what would be really funny is if... Or at least like a little bit clever. I don't know if it'll be funny. But if Luffy gets to the throne room at the Holy Land, right? And he remembers that there was a little secret switch here to get into this lower area. And he stands there and he has like this stupid moment where he thinks, he's just like, I wonder. And then presses and a button opens and it opens like a secret chamber in there. And it's just like, and they're just like, how did you do that? What was that? And it's just like, oh, all throne rooms have this, don't you know? Or something like, I don't know. Saeed said it's the verb to eat, but in a more wild way, like you're devouring food or knocking back drinks. I feel like that makes it worse. But you know, whatever. Tristan Viala said, and then Mr. 3 arrives and we don't need a key anymore. Yeah, we just cut down to Loki and it's like Crocodile, Mihawk, and Mr. 3, and they're currently in the process of freeing Loki. Crocodile's like, or Buggy's like, become my son. Loki joins Cross Guild. I'm not saying that like legitimately. It's a joke. It's not a real theory, guys. Philip Jenkins said, wait, Gaban said no one but red hair could catch Loki, but Gaban was in Elbaf the whole time. Yeah, I thought of that. But they'll say something stupid like Gaban was... he just didn't care or something, you know, like, but now why does he care, right? It's just, I mean, it does basically seem like Gaban is basically saying Shanks is stronger than me in this moment when you like read into it like that. So if Gaban is able to beat Luffy here, then it's like, well, you're going to need to get stronger if you think you can beat Shanks. Which is, I guess, kind of interesting. Aether said, too late. I'm already in other comments putting your name on it. I see that all the time when I go through the internet. There's just people who will be like, yeah, Randy Troy said this. And sometimes it'll be interesting. It'll just be like, I never said that. Or it'll be something completely wrong or like almost the theory. And I'll be like, no, that's not the theory. I was on Reddit yesterday. It was just like, what's a really interesting theory you saw online? And then someone was just like, Randy Troy's theory that Luffy's mom is a Shandian. And I'm like, that is not the theory. It's not the theory at all. It's that his paternal side is linked to the Shandians. Like Garp, Dragon, and Luffy. Nothing about the mom. But they probably thought, like, when I was talking about moose so much, like, and it's just like, but that was 400 years ago. Like, I'm still holding true that I think Tritoma was Luffy's mom, like, an Amazon. But that's just one out of many examples. So now it's like, and it was exactly that situation that made me like say like, this is not my theory. Like, I'm not saying Loki's gonna join Cross Guild, because then like now I'm just gonna see it like, oh, Radio Troy thinks Loki's gonna join Cross Guild. No, I was making a joke about Mr. 3 opening the key. Final Storm, Superden said, appreciate you, said, Duson from Fishman Island, hammerhead with a hammer weapon as a hand. Yes, which is something I've been saying the whole stream once, and immediately once I said that, I was like, there's a guy on Hodie's crew that has like a version of this name. Big short dwarves with hammers. Building race that Neptunians talked about in 648. I think this hybrid is Tantana plus Buccaneer. This is part 1. And part 2 is the ability of the Buccaneer, I believe, could be the soul returns to the body to protect something they loved temporarily. I mean, that's interesting. I do like the callback to what the Sea Kings were talking about. And then the Final Storm, again, appreciate you, said, when this ability is passed down to Dosandata, part of their soul is passed on to their creations. When someone else loves their creation as much as them, they return and protect the creation, i.e. Kuma. I mean, what it really sounds like you're saying there is Kabloderman. You know, like if you're putting your like a part of your soul into your creation, you're kind of creating a Kabloderman. But I mean, I think you're getting to an interesting idea of how Kuma can like play a role in this arc, even though I would still prefer him to be gone. But Final Storm super against it, i.e., like Kuma came back to protect Bonnie, i.e., Dosandata's special ability could be Kabloderman. See, now that I like, right? That Dosandata in particular are either like become Kabloderman when they die, have the ability to create Kabloderman. But I also like the idea that, you know, I don't want to limit the fact that like the love that the Straw Hats gave the Mary was also like something that manifested the Kabloderman that we saw and gave the Mary life, because that's something kind of sweet and nice. But this is a way to like get a more, and it's weird saying this, a more logical like explanation. I don't know, because it's completely like unhinged, but just in like the terms of a fantasy world, like. But it's interesting. I want to know more about the Dosandata. I want an in-world example of like somebody that could literally like actually be one of these. So that's tough. Marcus Beth said, what if Buccaneers are Lunarian and Giant? I mean, that's cool. I mean, I feel like you have to be part Giant in order to be a Buccaneer, because, and I have no doubt in my mind that Whitebeard was Buccaneer. It's just too crazy. PS said, how do you gift memberships? Next to the chat area, there's the button that says show support, and then membership gifting. Together we're stronger. BK said, by the way, can't remember the exact wording, but the eater part of Mountain Eater is the same Japanese word for eater used in Big Eater Bonnie. I don't think that that's a way for Oda to say that Bonnie has anything to do with Gaban, though. DJoel333, how do you imagine the panel where we see an Enel come back? Him high in the sky, silhouetted with the moon behind him. Then the next panel, like a zoom in on his face smirking as he says something chaotic. That would be like the cool way to do it. But I'm not entirely sold that Enel comes back as a villain. I think it would be interesting if he learned things over the last 2 years that kind of changed his mind and attitude and gave him sort of an epiphany on whether or not he's actually God. Final Storm said, try to fit my whole theory into one super chat. Apologies. Nothing to apologize about. You made it easy to follow, and we were able to keep it going, and it's fun. Oh, I catch the drift. I catch it. Winnie the Pooh, better yet, how do you become a member? I feel like my YouTube is broken and I'm technologically challenged. It's the same area. It's show support, and then oh, you know what it is? It's when there's a join button next to, like, I think the subscribe button. Underneath towards the comments or something like that. Since we're talking about it. So shout out to the new members there.
Together we're stronger.
Together we're stronger.
Together we're stronger.
Brandon King said, ooh, theory, in the mural, the arc maxim from the past has lightning hitting the tree in the center. What if Enel starts the final war by burning the tree, but is lightning as he arrives, and that's how he returns? Only if everything that he read about the mural and everything said that tree needed to burn, right? And I would also love it if we find out, more about how important the tree is, right? Obviously, the mural is on the tree, but if also, like the Shandians, they believe that the souls of their ancestors are in the tree, then we get this like parallel where we're once again inverting Skypiea, and it's like Nolan destroying the trees, right? Now here comes Enel and he's destroying the trees. But what happened in the Nolan flashback? It was a misunderstanding where everybody got upset with him for destroying the tree, but he was actually doing it for a good reason, right? So if it's Enel coming down, then we have to kind of do the same thing. Now, initially, you're going to be mad at Enel as a reader because he's a villain, right? So of course he's burning the tree and he's like creating chaos. The twist would be that Enel is actually a good guy now, and he was burning the tree for good reason, that like the tree needed to burn. And then he has to explain that to everybody, and they have to get on board with the reason. And then that's the interesting thing to me. AJ1218, member for 45 months, said Enel is going to come back like Eminem did with the Slim Shady LP. Bunch of Enel clones around. We then asked the real Enel to stand up. Boom. Houdini. What can... He comes down, but he's just rap boy now. He's got a mask on and all this other stuff. Like, he's completely changed personas. Shout out to PS Super said, when's the next late night Savage session? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I have been saying incessantly that I, was going to stream Marvel Rivals, and I still want to do that. And if I do it, it's gonna be on Twitch. But because I play the game a lot, I just need to actually plug in and do the setup and just make it a live thing. But that would be probably the late night savagery. PS gonna reload YouTube, not showing up to gift or buy. I mean, it may be a thing where whatever you're using, if you're on your computer, if you're on your phone or something, it's not letting you do it. Some people say that it's easier on a computer. I don't know. YouTube's kind of buggy like that, I guess. I appreciate you. Final Storm said, I've had this Cloboterman Buccaneer ability theory since last year, but the Dosen Data reveal added much more validity. Yeah, I mean, we need more examples about that, and I feel like, Elbaf is a good place to learn about all of this stuff. We've got the Harley here, got this focus on Frankie, got the Atom Tree stuff. Like, we should be learning about all this stuff now. Saeed said, one of the mixed races that Scopper mentioned has actually been mistranslated across all translations, even the official. Mixed race is actually a person with long limbs and long neck. Which one is that? Here we got the Buccaneers, the Dosen Datas, the long arms, the long legs, and the Wotans. So it's not the long arms and the long legs, but that Oda actually generalized it so that it was the long limbs and long necks. Because we have long-necked characters. We got those twins and Whole Cake. Who else has a long neck? I know there's a Marine, right? Miles said between OP, Severance, and now Invincible, he's eating well. Love to see it. BK said, well, this arc does have false sun gods, so false Enel fits. Yeah, I need that scene. The only thing I want from an Enel return is where he recognizes that Luffy is actually the sun god, right? Imagine having all of Skypiea and then a double page spread where it's Enel bowing to Luffy or something. How crazy would that build-up be over 20 years? This guy was so solipsistic, so narcissistic, so sanctimonious, so just self-indulged, that he would call himself God, and then for him to prostrate before somebody else is like the craziest character development if you do it right. And I don't say that for everything. Like, I don't feel like every villain needs to have a turn or anything. Like, I did not, and I've been very vocal, like, I did not like Luffy and Lucci teaming up. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. I did not like that at all. But Luffy and Enel feels interesting because he was so evil and misguided. The problem with Lucci is that, like, I've never felt that Lucci felt like he was misguided. Like, he's someone that understood that the world government was messed up and didn't care because he got to kill people. Whereas Enel as a character is just so wrong, right? That you want him to eventually have the wool pulled from his eyes and be like, wow, I'm wrong. And it's like, how do you get this character that just can't see that they're wrong, see that they're wrong? And Oda's been building that with him going to the moon. AJ super chatted a little Enel rap. I'm the goddess Skypea. Enel's my name. Gora Gora no me. Feel my lightning rain. Luffy thought he'd stop me. Rubber's no bluff, but will the real God Enel please stand up? You worked on that, man. You worked on that. That's how he needs to reappear. Exactly like that. Saeed said, Big Mom's half human and half snake neck kids are the first time we've seen examples, but we haven't seen a pure blood one yet. Yeah. Their names are like Joskapan and Muskapan or something like that. I'm not right, but it's something like that. But I also wonder if that one Marine that we just met, an egghead, like, wasn't there a long-necked one? The one that fought Frankie? Like, he had a long neck. So he might be part of it too. Red King, yeah. It was Red something. Dear Luffy, I wrote you, but you still ain't called. Let's see. Catching up here. I try to snail the World Economic News Journal and your Nakama. Winnie said, you mean Gilly Chin? I do mean Gilly Chin. That's his real name. Thank you, Winnie. And that's how I know that Winnie's been around for at least a year, if not longer. Moria's got a long neck. That's true. He might be like partially long-necked. Whew. I do have to say, that this chapter is pretty straightforward, you know, and obviously, like, the last two chapters, and particularly the last chapter, was not a straightforward chapter. That was a, like a lot of people in the chat were saying, this is a clear your whole day chapter. This one, I don't know, I feel like Oda knew that the Super Bowl was today, so he just wanted to give everybody something slight. One thing I do want to see is I want to see if there's any math piece here with Rayleigh's introduction in chapter 500. Chapter 500 released May 26th, 2008. So no. How about chapter 19, the first chapter that had Rayleigh and Gaban in it? Chapter 19. December 1st. Closer, but no math piece there. Now I'm looking at the old man, like I literally Googled Marineford guy with tattoo. And immediately the character that I was thinking of popped up. Because I'm trying to figure out if he's Gaban. He does not have a scar across his eye. So, I mean, Oda would have to, like, do some retcon work here. Or maybe it's different in the manga. Like, I feel like I need to see the chapter. This guy's also sitting in an area that clearly does not have giants, so maybe there's just no connection here. There was, for people who are not following along, there was a character like in the middle of Marineford that like Oda just cut to. He's an old guy who's smoking a pipe. He had Scopper Gaban's exact glasses, and he had this like interesting tattoo over a bald head. And he was talking like he clearly knew things, like as if he was an important character. Like saying things like, we should just pray he fails to appear at all. If the execution simply goes ahead, that's best for everyone. And then I know at some point, like this was before Whitebeard showed up, this image that I found on the internet. Like, I don't know which chapter it is yet. I gotta figure out which chapter it is. But Oda cut back to this exact guy, I'm pretty sure, like once Whitebeard died as well. The guy seemed a little sullen about it. So people are following along because I don't have screen sharing set up for this stream. Like, this is a guy that for many years was thought to maybe be Gaban. And I thought that Oda was basically saying that because the scar on Gaban's eye was really close to where this guy's tattoo is and kind of similar. But even in the manga here, it's clearly not that. That feels like it's debunked. Saeed said he was in the East Blue. Interesting. Like, that's, you know, that's another, like, forgotten character that I feel like, why give this guy, like, almost a monologue during the Paramount War if he's not something? That's Scopper Shaban, his twin brother. He's the Mountain Drinker. Although, probably, like, the thing translates the same way. When he said, I've been around for about 4, maybe 4.5 years, Randy. I appreciate that, Winnie. I know I've seen your name. I wish I could just find something that says, like, this guy in chapter blah blah blah, but I don't, like, because there's no point. Like, the point was I wanted to find the chapter because if it was in the same week, like, because they're trying to time together. But if it's the East Blue and then everything there, that's just a waste of time. It's not the guy. So surprisingly, it doesn't look like Oda did any sort of, like, math piecing here. Spencer said, could Blackbeard be half Ancient Giant, half Tantata? That's wild. Because maybe that would actually, like, even out. Hey, Crush Nut. No worries, man. Saeed said Gaban imitated Odin's catchphrase and the line, young lady, secrets are born to be spread. Like my name is Odin and I was born to boil. So, like, he kind of, like, says it the same way. That's kind of interesting and something that you would miss if you're not reading it in the Japanese. But maybe the inflection of the voice actor will kind of sell that a little bit more. And that's a cool thing to note, and probably one of the coolest details that you've brought to these streams, Saeed. So I appreciate that one. That one's really cool. You guys, you know, catch what Saeed's saying here? Like, that's cool. AJ said the rando with the tattoo will team up with Kuro, Captain Nezumi, and Bachi to form the "oh yeah, these guys exist" pirates. Oh, we could definitely throw some. We could build that team. Build that team. Throw Crab Hand Gyro in there. Lip Service Dowdy. Big Sing, he said Roshi vibes are up. That's what I want. I want Roshi. D. Joel said, I liked your thoughts on Enel being an ally, though. I enjoyed his villain speeches. Will the villain role be taken by Rouge? No, but in the scenario that I was talking about earlier, where Enel has seen the error of his ways and switches sides or something, I think a Rouge would if he was injected into the story, he would be upset with Enel for like destroying Burka, but you know, I would love it if Rouge like came in hot and like started attacking Enel, right? And then Enel just says, I'm sorry for what I did to your people. And completely diffuses the situation, and Rouge doesn't know what to do because he's been like dreaming of killing Enel for, you know, I don't know, years. And this man just says, I'm sorry. Like, with his whole chest. And Rouge is just like, I don't even know what to do now. Like, that's the type of subversion that becomes interesting. Like, that's, I don't know, I feel like, to me, that's proper storytelling. I don't know. That's what makes you, a reader, go, wow, was not expecting that. Okay, moving forward. Tristan Viala said, I can see Kuro being part of CP9. It works on many levels. I mean, that was a popular theory for a long time, that, and I still love that theory, that Kuro was maybe like an orphan that trained with CP9 and then like escaped the organization and became a pirate. And that was actually the first time that we were seeing Rokushiki techniques, was in that battle against Kuro, and that what he was doing was fast step, you know, and that's why he was so fast. Shave is a similar move. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, when we saw CP9 doing those things, like, a lot of people, like, Kuro was the only context that we really had for something like that. So initially, especially early on, you know, like early theories, talking, you know, old theories, when we didn't have as much breadth of text, like, there were a lot of Kuro CP9 theories back in the day, because it's the only thing we had to look at when we were reading Water 7. It's like, is this connected? But Oda has never bothered to answer that. But that would be a really fun, like, SBS for someone to ask something like that. And I'd love to know what Oda's answer would be. And it's like one of those things where it's a shame that Luffy and Kuro never ran back into each other. Like, it's a shame that Kuro wasn't in Impel Down or something, because it would have been really cool for him to do Fast Step again, but by that point in Impel Down, Luffy already knows Gear Second and basically knows, like, Shave, so he would have been way faster than Kuro. Kuro would think that he's gonna get, you know, the upper hand this time, and Luffy, like Bellamy's him, one-shots him, so that, you know, that's seeing the progression of growth with older villains is fun. Obviously, you know, we kind of got it with Luffy versus Lucci recently, but it's even better when it's such a vast difference. You know, like, still to this day, one of my favorite things is, you know, not that there was any sort of emotional connection there, but see, after like doing the entire Namek saga and then seeing Trunks like chop up Frieza in one shot, still one of the craziest things I ever saw. You know? And it's like burned in my memory too, because I had like a bootleg VHS of that while Namek was running on TV in the 90s. I was watching this uncut, seeing Trunks like chop up Frieza, and I thought it's like I had the Holy Grail. I was inviting like my friends that watch Dragon Ball Z over. I was like, you gotta watch this. Like, the story's gonna get crazy. I want more of that stuff in One Piece. Juror super chatted and said, what if the man marked by flames isn't one person, but a number of people secretly working together? Saul, Gaban, Dragon. So, I think that the man marked by flames is going to be one person. But, to your point about people secretly working together, I was talking about that earlier. I do think that there is a group of people that are secretly working together. And their names are Shanks, Gaban, and Rayleigh. And they are secretly puppeteering the world so that Luffy can do what he needs to do to get Roger's goal done. And now it's Gaban's turn to play his role in whatever that is. Now, if that means that they're all the man marked by flames, that's fine. I just wouldn't say that it's Saul, Alcatraz, and Dragon, but it's Shanks, Gaban, and Rayleigh. Like, the Roger Pirates are the people that are manipulating the world. AJ said bootleg VHS was the best in the 90s, early 2000s. We had the DVZ movies, which are so not canon, it hurts. But we didn't know that. That's right. That's right. I remember I had BoJack early. I was like, they're doing another tournament. Tien did something. Yamcha was there. Yeah. That was fun stuff. 3 Days said Wotan is also an old Germanic name which translates to Odin in English. Though thought that was really interesting. So that's what I was trying to remember, because I was like, I had forgotten about the Wotan in Davy Backfight. And then when someone said like Fishman Giant, then I was like, wait, Davy Backfight. But I remembered Wotan, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I talked about that in my hour-long Elbaf video. Because Wotan is the old Germanic name for, basically for Wednesday also. For the day of the week, Wednesday. So it's like all, I went into that video for about a minute talking about how most of the like Norse gods and everything, their names eventually became days of the week. So Thor, Thursday. Tyr, Tuesday. Freya, Friday. Loki, like a different translation of Loki eventually became Saturday. And so on and so forth. I can't remember Monday. I talk about it in the video. I go through all of them. But Wotan, yeah, so it's like, that is interesting. So we've got a Wotan and an Odin. Which then, now that I'm thinking about it, because I was like, we need an Odin. And now it's making me think that when we get to the Void Century, like the representation of Odin, I'm not talking about Wano Odin, I'm talking about Norse mythology Odin. Maybe Oda will go with Eager, or Eeg, YGG. Because the tree Yggdrasil got its name from Odin as well, because he also was called Ygr. And then the basic translation for Yggdrasil in the first place is Odin's gallows, because he katakuried himself onto a branch for multiple days to show his worth and gain knowledge. Woden's Day, yeah. It took me forever to remember too. Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me of that. So I was like, wait, like when I was seeing it, I was like, hold on, I've talked about this. What? It's hard to remember everything, you know, and call it back immediately. Philip Jenkins, Vivi being Miss Wednesday. Yep, I talk about that in the video too. If you haven't seen the long Elbaf theory video, go check it out. It's still relevant. The Cooler movie. Yeah, that was one of the early VHS ones I had too. That one was insane. Because that was like movie 5. So that was like, I think the first movie I found on VHS bootleg. Monday for Moon's Day. That's right. Yep. Which we already know. That ties in. Yep. They worship the moon. They had a day to celebrate the moon. The people of the half moon dreamed. Yeah, 3-Day just linked that video in the chat. So it's a long one, goes into a lot, and it is, you know, there's no filler in that video. It's just a lot. There's a lot there. But I think I'm going to start winding down here, guys. We've hit 2 hours. The Super Bowl is going to start soon. I got to be there for Kendrick to call Drake a PDF in front of a million people. Millions of people. So, if anybody's got any last things they want to pull out here, and then we're on break, so I'm gonna I want to try and set up the mural summit. So either a theory for theory or the mural summit, and put in chat who you'd like to see either for theory or in a mural summit before we go. Shout out to Zote. Appreciate the Superman. Said, love your stuff, Randy. In chapter 1122, when Emu is screaming, the attendant running towards him looks like an arrow coming out of the ground, turning into a person. Does he create his attendants? Savage Crew for life. Shout out to you, Zote. Let me go back to that. Because no one has ever brought that up to me. So that's an interesting take. So 1122, opening it up now. Platinum Fox said, % chance you think the fight breaks the key. I like that. I like that thinking. Because then it forces them to get creative and do some sort of like Mr. 3 thing. Let's see. The attendant running towards him looks like an arrow coming out of the ground, turning into a person. Does he create his attendants? I'm looking at it now. I do love the idea that it looks like an arrow. Like, it really does. I don't know if he creates his attendants, but it is interesting that someone has access to him. And I don't think that this has been talked about enough. This idea that like someone is able to run to him that knows who he is, like that he has an attendant in the first place is crazy. And then when you see him like shaking, falling over, and then everything with the mural, like I can only imagine that he is like a full pure-blooded moon person. That's why Oda is like hiding him, because design is going to be ridiculous, and it's probably going to look pretty similar to that, like those dog-like creatures on the moon, which is not a new take. Winnie the Pooh said, guys, it's a great video. Go check it out. I've been putting together a theory script, researching, and I can appreciate a lot better what Randy put into that vid. It's definitely worth the watch. Thanks, Winnie. D. Joel said, thanks for the reviews, Randy. Currently in Serbia, we are protesting against our corrupted government for 3 months. Students are in a blockade. Universities are closed. These streams help a lot. That's wild, and that's like insanity. I'm sorry, like that's happening. You know, I mean, no one should have to go through that kind of stuff, and we need better people in power all over, everywhere, even in the United States. Like, this is I don't know. It hurts to hear stuff like that. It hurts to see things happening, you know, in any country, even in the United States. And I'm glad to give some sort of break from that stuff, but hopefully things get better for everybody, and particularly that situation. So you take care and you stay safe, D-Joel. Rojal said, any new theories, Randy? I mean, I threw a bunch out in the last stream, so it's hard to find the time to like put the theories together with just my schedule is just too busy. I want to do more videos, but for the time being, most of my theories are like coming through these streams now. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do more videos. Like, there will be other videos, but it's like I'm throwing the theories out in the streams mostly now. Who do I got in the Super Bowl? I mean, like, I definitely, I got Kendrick. All right, like this is not a Super Bowl where I'm like cheering for either team, but I do like the story element of the Chiefs winning, because it's been a while since we've seen a three-peat in sports to begin with, so let them enter the history books, I guess. Big Stinky said they are interested in collabing with Western manga and anime creators Dawn and Dusk. I'll keep that in mind. I gotta figure out a way to... I don't have a way to talk to them, so... Christopher Stewart said we need Tekking and Brago. Okay. Drock and Mama Drock. I mean, I do want to talk to them. I enjoyed talking to them at the Reverie. It's interesting. Krishna said, did you talk about how Scabba revealed didn't have math piece? Yeah, I went through and was looking at some stuff. And I was very surprised by that. Joy by Theories. That's good, yeah. I put some thought into it. Definitely want, like, the most wild out there, like, theories, like, you know, let's break this mural. All right, it's enough stuff to think about. And Tristan said, I mentioned Alexander earlier, would love to see him again on your channel or on a Reverie. Well, he was at the last Reverie, and I think technically, because I haven't done a theory for theory in a while, I think he was the last time I did a theory for theory. It might be wrong. There might have been one other one. But he was definitely the last one, or one of the last two theory for theories. So I don't know about bringing Alexander back just yet, because we've talked so soon. I guess. I mean, it's probably been like 6 months, but I'll think about it. I want to keep it like small, like maybe like if I do a mural summit, I only want like 4 to 6 people total. Mini chat. But that's gonna wrap things up for today, guys. I'm done. I'm spent. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Scopper's here. Proper Scopper. So, everybody take care. You guys have a great week. Great 2 weeks. You know, great break week here. Be on the lookout for updates about either a theory for theory, if I can't get multiple people, you know, or a mural summit. Talk to everybody soon.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.